Hey guys, what is happening, and welcome to today's video. So in today's video we are discussing something that's really important that I think a lot of people just don't really fundamentally understand, and that is the rental market. People have fundamentally flawed understandings of how the rental market actually works, and it's crucial to understand how the rental market works because then you understand the mechanics of the housing market. And all of this stuff which I'm going to be discussing in this video is fairly logical when you really think about it. A lot of people will be saying, oh yeah, that makes sense. And really that's the point. But anyway, we're going to go through these things because most people fail to understand these things. A lot of landlords don't understand these things. And really you have a lot of real estate investors today that have flawed understandings of how to operate an investment property, or how to operate any investment for that matter. So without further ado guys, let's do this! Alright guys, welcome back. So first of all, if you want, please hit that like button. Greatly helps get the video out there and do the algorithm's magic. So rental properties. So rental properties are kind of a thing that a lot of people get into, and one of the cash cows of the roaring 2021s, let's call it. But essentially people have really flawed understandings of why rents go up and crucially why rents go down. So typically in a hot housing market, you're going to see a lot of people selling investment properties. And when I say a lot of people, I don't really mean a lot of people, let's be honest. I mean the smart money. So the smart money gets out of the market, they realize the market is hot, and they sell. And that's what's happened in a lot of cities across Canada actually. A lot of people have thought, you know what, I'm cashing out, I'm going to sell my rental property, and that leads to higher demand in the rental market, which in turn pushes prices, guess, up, of course, and then you get rising rents as well. So as people cash out of rental properties, the amount of available rentals goes down, thus the price goes up. And you've also got a lot of people in the market now competing with each other to get a rental property. Now the flip side to this is it also usually forces people into buy a home when they wouldn't particularly want to. So a lot of people during 2021 have entered into the homeowners space of the market because they got kicked out of their rental. Rents were really high, so they figured, you know what, I'm at that age and my emotions are at the point where they need to be where I want to buy a home. So that's exactly what a lot of people did. And I'm not disrespecting people for doing that. I'm really not. I think it's hard to not get involved with your emotions sometimes. And again, this stuff just isn't taught at school. You know, how to be and how to think like an investor, how to really manage your finances in a prudent, proper way is just not taught at school, and it's not widely known knowledge. And in fact 90% of people just do not think in this way, and it's really difficult to think in this way. Let me tell you, as an investor and a trader myself, it's incredibly difficult to think in this way sometimes. You are literally torn because your mind doesn't want to think that way, and you're forcing it to think that way, if that makes any sense. So another part to the rental market is of course what happens on the flip side. So obviously during a housing market that's going up, you have the price of rents going up. So what really happens during a market when rents are going down and when home prices are going down? So what that typically means is a lot of people are going to hold off selling because they're going to think, well, I'm not going to sell right now because I'm getting my rent and I'm just going to wait for a better price. And that can be okay during certain times, and that can destroy you during other times. Because if you pick that sort of mentality during the wrong time, you can end up never ever getting back to the price that you originally had and you could have sold at, and you could end up selling out of fear or panic. Because little do people know, when they say to themselves, oh, okay, I'm going to hold off selling and wait for a better price, if prices continue to go down and tank, those people are the ones at risk who are going to panic and go, I've got to sell really quick, and they cut the price a lot and they lose out. So they think they're being smart, but psychologically they're setting themselves up for failure. Now, anyway, I was getting a little bit off topic there, but I'm talking about the flip side to rentals. So how do rent prices go down? How do they ever go down? How did they go down after 2008? Well, I'll tell you, and I can use an example of Calgary, what happened in 2016. So what happened in 2016 in Calgary was a lot of people couldn't sell their home. And there was a lot of people from Ontario and BC that had bought homes. Does this sound like a familiar pattern? But anyway, these people had bought homes, they'd lost their jobs, and they were going back to Ontario and BC. So what happens was they couldn't sell their home for the price they wanted, or they were in negative equity. So they said, hey, we're going to rent it out. That's a smart move, isn't it? I mean, in most cases, these people were actually losing money on the property, so they were having to subsidize the rental with their own income, which is just insane that people would do that. And I'm sure that that wasn't calculated either, like they weren't calculating how much money they were losing or anything like that. But anyway, what that does is it drives the supply of rentals up. And then as the supply of rentals goes up, and the demand is effectively the same, the rents go down. And that's why you never see rents like drop to the floor or anything like that, because the demand is still going to remain the same. It's not necessarily going to go down. So whereas you had demand rising when prices were going up, demand is really flat, but now you've got supply that is absolutely exploding. And that happened in Calgary, it happened in lots of markets in Florida. And what that can do in certain situations, and what I think it may do this time around with the crisis that we're currently facing, is essentially you're going to have a massive supply of rentals hitting the market. You're going to have people negative cash flow on their rentals, and essentially they're going to be forced into foreclosure because they cannot afford to subsidize those rentals. They can't get the prices that they want, and essentially they end up saying, well, we can't sell it, we're in negative equity on the house, we can't sell it. And it's all those people that got caught up into the emotions that we've seen over the past couple of years. Those are the real ones who are most vulnerable. Anybody who got into an investment property over the past couple of years is really the most vulnerable. And the closer you get to the time of now, those people are the most vulnerable people. And that's why they say, unfortunately, the dumb money always enters last, because that's always the case. And that's what I mean. During these tops of cycles, you will see the smart money selling their investment properties, and the dumb money will be buying those investment properties. And there's always an exchange for this going on. Like when prices are going down, you've got people who are buying the properties off the dumb people who bought when prices were too high. And that's like how things play out and work. But the problem is when you have a broken bubble, or a deflating bubble, or a popping bubble, or whatever you want to call it, and prices are going to go down significantly, everything just cascades on each other, and it's like a snowball that's rolling down a hill, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and picking up momentum until eventually it hits the bottom of the hill, which nobody, let's be honest, knows where it is. But to be honest, people are fundamentally flawed when they think about housing prices in Canada. They think they're immune to going down. They point to all these rationalizations, which we've gone through many times on these channels and debunked. It's like myth. almost the reasons people say, oh, my market's going to continue to go up because of oil. Oh, my market's going to continue to go up because of retirees. Oh, my market's going to continue to go up because of immigration. Like, what people don't realize is really none of those excuses make any difference at all, because it's all about credit and availability of credit and wage growth. But when you're in a bubble, all those fundamentals detach from one another, but that doesn't mean they're going to detach forever. Eventually they're going to recouple, and that's when the market is going to reset and revert to the mean. That's a good mention for my buddy Jared at Revert to Means. But yeah, the thing is, guys, these things are cyclical. They're cycles. They occur over and over again. And you are very delusional if you think, oh yeah, it's not going to happen in my market. My market is immune for whatever reason. It will happen across the country. Some markets worse than others. For example, I think that Calgary home prices may drop like 30%, but when you look at real home prices, they will be very much lower than Toronto, Vancouver, any of these places that are set to decline upwards of 50, 60, even 70%. It's an insane amount of decline to get back to the trend line, and history has taught us with all real estate cycles and crashes that they always correct back to the trend line, and normally further than the trend line. So the thing is, you can believe whatever you want, guys. Obviously, like, this is just my opinion. This is just what I think. This isn't financial advice. Do what you want, make what you mean of what I say here. But anyway, I hope some of the thoughts, some of the things that I've run by you in this video have been very helpful to you. And anyway, guys, I will see you in the next video. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Hit that dislike button if you hate me. I'll see you in the next video. Peace, guys. Bye-bye.